So I'm here today wearing some yellow, some rose red lipstick, a Paris mug, and my film journal is at hand. So of course, I'm reviewing Beauty and the Beast. Disney are currently going through a bit of a boom of making live-action remakes of classic Disney films. And so whenever they say they're going to be making a new one, I'm a little bit wary, but also intrigued. For me, I need there to be something new, otherwise there is no point in them remaking things full stop. For example, when Jon Favreau redid the Jungle Book movie, it was incredible because of the development of CGI. It was like we were watching real animals singing and dancing. And with Kenneth Branagh's remake of Cinderella, they added so much character development which was lacking from the original film. So I was asking myself what was going to be new about the Beauty and the Beast film. And overall, there wasn't that much. But the things that were new about this Beauty and the Beast film were done really well, and so the fact that there wasn't much of it didn't matter because what there was quality. If that makes sense. Before we get started with my actual review, here's a little bit of context about Beauty and the Beast. So, Beauty and the Beast is an incredibly famous story. The story comes from early 18th century France, written by a novelist called Gabrielle Suzanne Barbeau de Villeneuve, I think. And the story was called La Belle et la Bête, which translates as The Beauty and the Beast. The story has been retold countless amount of times, including two of my favourite young adult adaptations, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas and Barefoot on the Wind by Zoe Marriott. The story was made famous in 1991 when Disney decided to make the story into a musical animated film. And Alan Menken won Best Original Score at the Academy Awards that year, and rightly so because Alan Menken is a genius and the music in this film is phenomenal. Often, this film is called the best animated film, and no surprise it's still so popular today. And so because of that, we have a remake. Okay, enough of all that, let's get on to the actual review. Be prepared, I'm going to be saying really well, really good, a lot in the rest of this video. So the film starts off with the prologue, which is in the original film. However, this prologue is split into two parts. Why two parts, you ask? Two parts because in the middle there is another song which is new called Aria. And in this song you get to see the prince before he's turned into a beast, and you get to see how arrogant he really is. So it's nice to get a bit of background detail on the beast. And also the song itself is really cool. Then it follows how the film generally goes and we see Belle in the little village. Initially, when the song started, I was a bit wary over the amount of auto-tune that was used on Emma Watson's voice. I don't sing myself. I'm not an expert on singing and I'm not an expert on auto-tune, so I can't be certain. However, there was something that just didn't sound right about her voice at the start. However, I got over that quite quickly and I got used to it, and so it didn't bother me for the rest of the film. It's certainly not a reason to not like the film in any way. It was just something that kind of was a bit strange to me at first. The majority of the songs from the original are in this film and are done really well, but what I especially liked was the fact they included new songs as well. I say new with inverted commas because a lot of those songs aren't exactly new but from the Broadway version of Beauty and the Beast. These new songs include Evermore, Aria as I mentioned, Days in the Sun, and How Does a Moment Last Forever, and there's also a small bit of music from the song Home which runs in the background of one of the scenes and is really lovely. Home is probably one of my favourite Disney songs and I think it's a shame that not many people actually know it, so it was really nice to actually see it acknowledged in this film. Also, the score itself is beautiful. Emma Watson and Dan Stevens as Belle and the Beast were both incredible. Emma Watson is one of my favourite actresses of all times. I would watch her in anything. It was really lovely to see her as Belle, and she portrayed her really well. She portrayed Belle's intelligence, wit, strength, and innocence at the same time, and it was really lovely to see it on screen. The director, Bill Condon, also provided us with a bit more of a backstory for Belle, and that was really nice to see because it's something that I've always kind of wondered about. It's just nice to see a new side of her character. Dan Stevens as well did a really good job, I thought. He had a really nice balance between the beastliness of the beast as well as the more subtle depths and gentleness about him. He actually showed the beast as having a sense of humour, and that was really nice to see. There wasn't as much backstory for the Beast, but you do see him in a few different stages of his life, and it's nice to see how he develops. And to be honest, he had to do all of that whilst wearing stilts, a bodysuit covered in dots so that he could be CGI'd later on. So yeah, hats off to him. Speaking of the CGI, I really liked it. The things they made out of CGI were beautiful, and I think that was really useful because we as humans are really good at picking out what is real and what isn't, which of course makes it harder to suspend disbelief in a way. But because they were beautiful themselves, it didn't really matter that they weren't real because they were so pretty to look at on screen. And of course, the whole film is a fantasy, so it doesn't matter that you know the things aren't real. As I mentioned before, I wanted to see what the director was going to do new in this film. And other than including a lot of new songs, what this film does really well is fill in lots of plot holes from the original. You find out why the villagers all forgot about the royal family living next door, why in depth the prince was punished, and you find out about Belle's background, which is really interesting. And of course, the film in itself is beautiful. There are some absolutely gorgeous shots, including the famous ballroom scene that is absolutely stunning. If all that hasn't convinced you to see the film, then just go for the music alone because it is absolutely gorgeous. Alan Menken is a genius. I think that is all I have to say about this film. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you when I see you.